Hey guys, I'm Fancy, and this is Murder by Design. Welcome back. I am here today live. I'm going to be talking about this 11-page document that we have received. It is the probable cause affidavit of Detective Ron Ball, who is one of the detectives that arrested Chad Daybell. There's a lot of information in this, some crazy, if this case can't get any crazier. And I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I'm concerned about with this, and what I'm thinking, might happen. And I'm going to consult some of our experts here in the next couple of days about it and see what they have to say, because this is pretty current. We just got this in yesterday. I got it late last night. I posted it on our Facebook if you guys would like to see the whole thing for yourselves. But I just wanted to come on and go through this. So this is the probable cause affidavit of Detective Ron Ball. It's in the district court for the state of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. And so basically the first part is just Detective Ball explaining who he is, his training. He is lieutenant over investigations for the Rexburg Police Department. He basically goes into how many hours of training he has, what he's done. And so all of that, basically that's in every affidavit. They have to do that just to show, their knowledge and everything of what they are they're talking about, so that they know that they know that they're credible. So, all right, I'm going to get into page 2, starting here. It starts off, since November 26th of 2019, the Rexburg Police Department has been involved in the search for JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. The minor children's mother, Lori Vallow, has been charged with 2 felony counts of desertion of a minor child, 1 misdemeanor count of resisting and obstructing, and 1 misdemeanor count of solicitation to commit a crime, and 1 misdemeanor count of contempt. The contempt charge is for failing to comply with an order in a child protection action in Madison County, Idaho, to produce JJ and Tylee to the Rexburg Police or Department of Health and Welfare. She was required to produce the children by January 30th of 2020, and Tylee was 17 at the time she was missing, and JJ was 7 when he went missing. She never produced them. Obviously, she's been held well, she has bail, but she's not been able to post the bail. The judge has been refusing ever since she was arrested to reduce the bail, which is great because they've been able to keep her in, and Chad has been kind of roaming free. Now, I know that when he was originally arrested, some people thought that maybe Lori rolled over on him. I'm not seeing that as the case anymore, guys. I don't think that happened. I think it may eventually happen. I think that eventually one of them is going to cut a deal. We talked about this with Kirk Nurmi. Hey, Kimberly, how are you? We talked about this with Kirk Nurmi, and we're going to be releasing that on Sunday, I believe. He talks a little bit about the difference, the things with the fact that right now Chad and Lori share a lawyer, which in this instance of how far along this case is at this point, and what the charges are going to end up probably stacking up to be, he finds that rather interesting. He did not realize that was the case, and when we let him know that, he said that was a bit odd, that there's going to be definitely a conflict of interest there. And so we're going to need, hi puppies, we're going to need them to, probably, obtain different counsel. But today we're going over the 11-page Chad Daybell Affidavit probable cause for arrest. So basically, they went chat, so they're going to go on. So number 5 on page 2, basically just talks about the fact that they went to Hawaii. They looked and to arrest Lori on felony desertion charges. So Chad was very well aware of the fact that felony charges had been brought against her. And he also knew that there were felony charges directly related to the location, health, and well-being of the minor children named above. So he knew what was going on. There's no question in the fact that he didn't know. So it just goes on to say that the November 26, 19, the Rexburg Police Department, along with the FBI, have been investigating the location and whereabouts of these 2 minor children. The last verifiable sighting of Tylee Ryan was on September 8th, 2019 in Yellowstone National Park. And the last verifiable sighting of JJ Vallow was a little bit later, September 22nd, 2019, in his mother's apartment located in Rexburg, Idaho, by Lori's friend Melanie Gibb. And while Rexburg police and FBI have received many tips of alleged sightings since the beginning of the case, none of these tips have led to any verifiable or actionable information regarding the health, safety, or location of the minor children. So basically they're saying that, they've looked nothing for months. They weren't able to find anything that was verifiable to say that the children had survived past September 22nd. So it goes on to explain that Lori Vallow moved to Rexburg on or about September 1st, 2019, with her children, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow, and her brother, Alex Cox. Now, Lori resided with her children in an apartment in Rexburg. At the time, Alex did reside in the same complex, initially living in the same unit as Lori, but then he moved into his own unit in the same complex. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. We're talking about the Chad Daybell Affidavit of Probable Cause of what was found in the investigation that led them to find the remains of Tylee and JJ and the arrest of Chad Daybell. So Lori Vallow's close friend Melanie Gibb has cooperated with Idaho and Arizona law enforcement regarding the investigation of the children. Now this gets interesting, guys. This is where it gets interesting. So Melanie Gibb has reported that from September 19th, 2019 through the morning of September 23rd, 2019, she visited Lori Vallow at her new residence in Rexburg, Idaho. Gibb reports that when she arrived in Rexburg, Lori Vallow informed her that JJ Vallow had become a zombie. Now, we've been talking about this whole zombie thing and the portals and everything. You guys know that this is some sort of weird religious cult that Daybell and Vallow seem to have subscribed to. Chad is supposed to be the leader of this specific cult. He's done a podcast. There's been, books written about it, which everybody is trying to get those books pulled down off of Amazon. I believe there is a petition right now circulating to get those books pulled down, and we definitely would like it. Hey Sophie, how are you? I'm so glad to see you again. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you have any questions as I'm going through this, either for this or anything else, just type them in the chat and I'll be glad to try and answer those today. Okay, going over the Lori Daybell. Chad, I'm so sorry, my neighbor just pulled in, so my dog's gonna bark for a second maybe. So we're going over the Chad Daybell affidavit, probable cause affidavit, and talking about the Lori Vallow case and the finding the remains of the children. So we just went over the fact that Gibb reports that when she arrives on September 19th, 2019, that Vallow informs her that JJ has become a zombie. So Gibb further reports that the term zombie refers to an individual whose mortal spirit has left their body and that their body is now the host of another spirit. The new spirit is a zombie. The new spirit in a zombie is always considered a dark spirit. While the dark spirit inhabits the host body, the person's true spirit goes into limbo and is stuck there until the host body is physically killed. As such, death of the physical body is seen as the mechanism by which the body's original spirit can be released from the limbo. So basically they're saying that, she believes that her children became zombies. You have to kill the children to release the zombie from their body. And then they go on through the portal to some safe place until this 144,000 are rescued. And that was supposed to happen in July 2020. But, my question is if there's portals and everything, why are Chad and Lori not using them to get themselves out of prison? But hey, whatever. Okay, so we're talking about that. And so as such, death of the physical body is seen as the only way to get them out. So Lori Vallow had learned about this belief from Chad Daybell and immediately told Gibb. So Gibb was present with Lori Vallow when Chad Daybell first taught Lori this information over the phone in early 2019 in reference to Charles Vallow. Now, Charles Vallow is Lori's, I believe, second husband, could be third. I can't remember if there's one more. But basically, and he's deceased. He was murdered by her brother. They said that it was an altercation that went wrong, but it's murder. I'm sorry. At this point, all these people have been murdered. And it's a crazy ass. I mean, the bodies are just dropping, including Alex's body. He's dead now too, under mysterious mysterious circumstances. Hey, Michelle, thanks for tuning in. You know, we do give some opinions. I mean, we do, but we do try to bring as much of the truth and the facts as we can. That's why we always try to bring on our experts. You know, we have Joseph Scott Morgan many times. Yeah, okay, Chad was the fourth hubby. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I had it wrong. So there's Tylee's dad. I know that. And then there's Daybell. Oh, wow. Goodness. Okay, no, Chad is the fourth husband. Charles was the third husband. Yeah, okay, so we do have her. Okay, fantastic. Sorry, guys, I get confused sometimes. But yeah, thank God Melanie was there to witness JJ being taken away. You know, but like I said, Michelle, we do try to have our experts on. Last night, we did a lot of talking about the serial killer that was apprehended in Atlanta. We had Cheryl McCollum on, and we had Stephen David Lampley, who were paramount in figuring that out in less than a week and catching the serial killer. We also talked about Officer Rolfe, and we talked about some Tiger King updates. So you guys might want to check that out from last night. It was a great live video that we did last night. But yeah, okay, so let's see. Multi-sirens. Alex was a walking time bomb health-wise. Why care, right? He can kill without remorse. Exactly. And I have no love for the guy. Okay. I'm just saying that he basically, and we're going to talk about this as I get further into this affidavit. He basically is Lori's like henchman. I mean, he's her mob boss. He's just going around killing everybody and doing everything. And it becomes pretty clear that he's in here. And that is concerning for me. And I'm going to talk about it when we get to it. I'm going to tell you why I'm concerned about the fact that Alex is brought up in this affidavit quite a bit. Okay. So let's see here. So she said, so we just left off on page 3. And if you guys want to see the whole thing, like I said, it's over on our Facebook page, The Good Wives Guide to True Crime. It's facebook.com/truecrimewives. And you can see the whole 11 pages for yourself, but I'm just kind of going through them here for you. Okay, so we just left off on page 3. At the bottom of page 3, it says, Melanie Gibb has further informed me that Lori Vallow called Tylee a zombie in the spring of 2019. Gibb was on the phone with Lori and heard Lori call Tylee a zombie, to which Tylee responded, "Not me, Mom." And this arose out of Lori requiring Tylee to babysit JJ, and Tylee did not want to. Lori Vallow also told Gibb that Tylee had turned into a zombie when she was 12 or 13, which was approximately the same time Tylee had become difficult to deal with. You know, oh my God, she's just a regular freaking teenager. Good God. This woman, oh, she just pisses me off so much. Like, if you didn't want to be a mom, then why did you have children? Seriously. Like, if you can't handle them through the teen years, yeah, the teen years are shit. I had 3 teenage girls, all at one time. You know, I mean, my girls are 3 years apart. So 3 years from, you know, and then 3 years again. So 6 years from the top to the bottom. But my 2 oldest are like this in teen years. And they were horrible for fighting and arguing and talking back and doing all kinds of, they're great kids. But I mean, that's just normal teenagers. You just deal with it and you get through it. And now my girls are amazing girls. They're both, you know, in their 20s now. Amazing. I've got a 17-year-old, love her to death. But good Lord. So it's because she's difficult to deal with, she's now become a zombie. My God. Okay. Anyway, going on. Sorry, got off of my little opinions there for a minute. But so Melanie Gibb had further informed me that she was told by Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow that they held the religious belief that they were part of the Church of the Firstborn, and their mission in that church was to lead the 144,000 mentioned in the book of Revelation. They also stated their mission was to rid the world of zombies. So they're zombie killers, guys. That's the story. They're zombie killers. So on January 26, 2020, a search warrant was served on Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow in Hawaii, where they were living and on their vehicle. The children were not found with Chad and Lori in Hawaii, and no evidence was found to suggest they were living with Chad and Lori. Right, exactly. Puberty. Thank you, Holly girl. So through this investigation, we have discovered that JJ Vallow was registered at Kennedy Elementary School in Rexburg the first week of September 2019. Kennedy School was informed that JJ had an individual education plan, which is an IEP due to his autism. That's where they lay out, different things of accommodations that they have to do for children with special needs. This can go all the way from something like dyslexia, like something my daughter suffered with, all the way up into, mental disorders, things like that they have to do to make sure that the children still are in a safe environment and learning something, So Kennedy Elementary was in the process of creating a new IEP for JJ. And then on September 23rd, 2019, JJ had an unexcused absence. On September 24th, 2020, Lori Vallow called Vicki Barton of the Madison School District and informed her that JJ was going to Louisiana with his grandparents and wouldn't be home until the end of October and maybe later. On October 29th, Madison School District was informed that JJ would be homeschooled. During searches of Lori's apartment in Rexburg and subsequent searches of her apartment in Kauai, no evidence of homeschooling material was ever found, and no other school district has ever requested JJ's records from Madison School District. So he wasn't being homeschooled, and he didn't end up with his grandparents. And his grandparents have attested to that. They said that they have not seen the children since September. They've wanted and they've called and they've been told, oh, this and that, or they're out here or they're over here, and they've never been able to. And I feel so bad for these grandparents. Kay is actually the grandmother, but she is now get me wrong, this is a weird situation. I believe she is JJ's adoptive father's sibling, as well as being his grandmother. It's a very weird situation. I don't remember how it totally shakes out, but basically they had custody of JJ. And because they were getting older in years, they did not feel that they could properly give him things that he needed because he was a special needs child. So that was how Lori and her husband adopted him. So and that's just, oh my God, just irritates me. And I think that was Charles Vallow. Yes, Charles Vallow. Yes. Okay. Yep. Because they have the same last name. It's hard to keep track in this case. Let me tell you, I've got like boards and things written out, but it's hard. Thank you, Sophie. I know I try really hard to keep it all straight, but this is one that's a little bit crazy, and there's lots of names and lots of people dropping like flies. It's just terrible. Terrible. That's it. Okay. Kay has a daughter who gave birth to JJ, and she's really messed up. Right. So she's JJ's grandmother, but she's also she's sister of Charles. So it's kind of a weird situation. But anyway, all right, moving on. So we're on the bottom of page 4 now. It also says that the last bearable sighting of Tylee Ryan was in Yellowstone National Park on September 8th, 2019. Photographs established she was there. With her mother, Lori Vallow, her brother, JJ Vallow, and her uncle, Alex Cox. So at this point, Alex is still alive. They drove there in Alex's silver Ford F-150. The trip was further established by tracking the GPS, cell tower connections, and Google account information on Alex Cox's phone. Okay, so this is where it starts getting really interesting, guys. So, and we're going to talk about texts and cell phone pings and everything. I mean, this is an interesting document. I hope I get through it in time because I do have a class that I'm attending at the Oliphant Institute. That Stephen David Lampley, one of our favorite guests, is the founder of that institute, and he does some amazing work. You guys can take classes over there for $20. You get an hour class on various different things. In fact, next weekend he's doing a whole thing on Jeffrey Dahmer, so I'm pretty excited about that. But okay. Moving on. So the Cellular Analysis Survey Team, hereafter known as CAST, okay? So Cellular Analysis Survey Team is known as CAST, is an FBI unit that provides analysis of cell phone records and presents the information to law enforcement. CAST has analyzed Alex Cox's phone and provided the location information mentioned in paragraph 13. So that's the one that was talking about where they were in Yellowstone. The CAST analysis provides the location of Cox's phone. Due to my training and experience in common knowledge, I'm aware that most individuals now keep their cell phone with them at all times, and the location of an individual's phone can be used to establish the location of the owner of the phone. Cast uses a cellular device, GPS data points, cell tower connections, Wi-Fi connections, and Google tracking information to establish the location of a cell phone. The GPS data points used by Cast are considered to be highly accurate and can place the device within a 6-meter radius. Okay, so that's pretty accurate, guys. So Cast has further informed law enforcement that Cox's phone exited the west entrance of Yellowstone National Park at 1840. His phone appeared to be at Buckaroo's Barbecue Grill in West Yellowstone, Montana, from 1845 to 1902. Cox then returns to Rexburg at approximately 2037. The phone is then at Lori's apartment number 175 until 2135, at which time Cox appeared to go to the Maverick on Main Street in Rexburg until 2143, until 2153, so he stays there about 10 minutes. Cox then went back to Lori's apartment from 2244 to 2315. At 2344, Cox is located at his residence in apartment 107. So basically, that's the timeline of the day that JJ or that Tylee supposedly went missing. So on Monday, September 9th, from 0000, which is 12 a.m., and 0044, so 44 minutes, so 12 a.m. to 1244, Cox's phone was located at his apartment 107. However, at 2:42 a.m. to 3:37 a.m., Cox is located again at Lori's apartment 175, where Lori lived with Tylee and JJ. This is significant not only because he is there in the middle of the night, but also because this is the only time in September he appears to go over to Lori's between midnight and 6 a.m. So that's freaking strange, right? I mean, holy crapinoli, you know. So Charles is JJ's great uncle as well as being his adoptive father. It's kind of a crazy situation. Anyway, so he is there between the hours of, midnight and 6 a.m. What are you at your sister's house between midnight and 6 a.m.? Like what? Why? Why are you there? Really? Why are you there? Makes no sense. So at 4:37, Alex goes back to his own apartment at unit 107 until 8:59 a.m. At 9:21 a.m., he was located at the property with the address of 202 North 1900 East Rexburg, which is the residence of Chad Daybell. It should be noted that while Chad Daybell's address is listed as Rexburg, it is actually located in Fremont County, Idaho. So at 9:21, there's a reading is a GPS data point and places him behind the home on Daybell's property near the east end of the barn. So this is where we're starting to see how police determined exactly where they were going to search on the Daybell property, because it's a really big property, okay? And when you get a search warrant, you can't just be like, I'm going to search the whole thing. I know that TV shows make it seem like that, but a lot of time it's not. You kind of have to be very specific in what you're looking for, where you're searching for it, everything. You don't just get to go and like destroy a person's whole entire property and home. So you got to be very specific. So, okay, moving on. Page 6. And you imagine the impression this Tyler was under it was serious since she was free. Yeah, I know. I think she saw something that happened with her stepfather, Charles, and that is why they took her out, really. But anyway, okay. So, all right. Alex Cox's phone was still at the Daybell residence at 10:39 a.m. And at 10:47, his phone shows a hit at the city of St. Anthony. At this time, we're unable to tell if he was actually inside the city limits of St. Anthony. It is about a 5-minute drive from the Daybell residence, or if this was a cell tower ping on his phone while he was still at the Daybell residence. But at 10:57 to 11:39, Cox is located again at the Daybell property. At 11:52 to 12:02, he was at Del Taco, bastard. I freaking love Del Taco. It's my favorite place, and we don't have them here in Kentucky. It's my absolute favorite fast food. So anybody who loves me enough, send me a cooler of fast food from Del Taco, and I will love you guys. Chicken tacos, no lettuce, extra sauce, red burrito, extra sauce, add sour cream. That's my order. Oh, and some chili fries, but you don't have to get those because they'll probably get, soggy. But if you want to ever send me something, there you go, guys. That's what you guys can send me. No, I'm just totally joking. But I love Del Taco. Anyway, so he appears to spend most of the rest of the day in his own apartment. So basically, he's there till just a little bit after 11:39, and then ends up at Del Taco, goes back home, and eats. As if nothing has happened. Like, okay, I'm just going to bury these kids in the yard, and then totally just going to take off and go eat some Del Taco, because that's what people do. Oh, God. This just makes me so sick. I'm sorry, guys. I need a little drink. Okay, so through this investigation, the Rexburg Police Department and FBI have seized, searched, and analyzed multiple cellular devices pursuant to several warrants. So on June 1st, 2020, it gets into this later, Holly girl. I'll go ahead. Like really, he kills the children, and then I'm going to get into that in just a few minutes. There's some text messages between Chad and Tammy, so you're going to learn about that. So, okay. But yes, she was still alive at this time. So, through this investigation, the Rexburg Police Department and FBI have seized, searched, and analyzed multiple cellular devices pursuant to several warrants. On June 1st, 2020, I was informed by Special Agent Ricky Wright of the FBI that the FBI had been examining a phone believed to be owned by Tammy Daybell. Excuse me. Tammy was Chad's wife and died on October 19th, 2019. The FBI found a text conversation between Tammy and her husband, Chad Daybell, on September 9th, 2019, which is the day after the last known sighting of Tylee Ryan in Yellowstone National Park. Well, there's several different things. It's not necessarily all of his cell phones. It's cell phones of various different people. So Chad's cell phone, Tammy's cell phone, Tylee's cell phone, Lori's cell phone, Alex's cell phone. Maybe he had more than one. So yeah, so all these different things. Okay, so the text conversation reads as follows. So this is the text conversation between Tammy and Chad on September 9th, the day after the last known sighting of Tylee Ryan. So Chad to Tammy at 11:53 a.m. Now remember, this is right after Cox has left. So right after Alex leaves, he texts his wife. And he says, well, I had an interesting morning. I felt I should burn all of the limb debris by the fire pit before it got too soaked by the coming storms. While I did so, I spotted a big raccoon along the fence. I hurried and got my gun, and he was still walking along. I got close enough that one shot did the trick. He is now in our pet cemetery. Fun times. So Chad to Tammy at 11:56 said, gonna shower now and then go right for a while at BYU. Love you. Tammy to Chad at 2:47 p.m. Good for you. So she's referencing the raccoon. Chad to Tammy at 2:48 p.m. I'm back home now. So here is the assessment that officer or Lieutenant Ron Ball, Detective Lieutenant Ron Ball, thinks about this. He says, I found the text suspicious because raccoons are normally nocturnal animals and are not regularly out during the day. It should be noted that from interviewing neighbors of Chad Daybell, we are aware that in mid-July of 2019, Garth Daybell, Chad's son, told their neighbors that Chad had shot a raccoon out of a tree on their property during the day. Those neighbors are named Matt and Regan Price. Garth told Matt Price about the raccoon in response to a question from Matt about hearing a gunshot. So the Prices informed me that the fire pit in the back of the Daybell property was hardly ever used until the last few months. And Regan informed me that there appeared to be frequent bonfires in the pit on the Daybell property over the last few months. And the first one she noticed was soon after Tammy's death on October 19th, 2019. Now, at this point, Tammy's death is actually suspect as well. They have re-exhumed her body and have performed another autopsy. I don't think we have seen that come out yet. They have not released the findings. I'm sure eventually we'll hear again, from them. Yeah, I know, Pandora's. I feel the same way. I do too. Like, I don't believe in, advocating for abuse or hitting anybody or violence. But damn, if two people need to be just, oh God, chicken baby syndrome for them. I swear to you. Okay. All right. So moving on to that. So they said that there was lots of bonfires after Tammy's death, right? Okay. So on June 2nd, 2020, Detective Bruce Mattingly. No, I don't think so. I don't think that Tylee is shot on Chad's property. I really think something happened to Tylee in Yellowstone Park. Because, I just really do. Because that was mid-July that they heard the gunshot. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, on June 2nd, 2020, Detective Bruce Mattingly of the Fremont County Sheriff's Office contacted Samantha G. Williams, I don't know, who is the sister of Tammy Daybell. He asked her if she was aware of a pet cemetery on Chad and Tammy Daybell's property in Idaho. She informed him that she was aware of the pet cemetery and stated that both she and Tammy were pet people and that they both had pet cemeteries. When asked the location of the pet cemetery on the Daybell property, she stated that it was the east end of the Red Barn and near the fire pit. On June 4, 2020, I spoke with Samantha and she informed me that she was aware of the location of the pet cemetery on the Daybell property because Tammy had shown it to her. Samantha was then shown an aerial photograph of the Daybell property and she pointed to the same area near the fire pit where Alec Cox's phone pinged on September 9th, 2019. Okay, so guess what, guys? Here's where I'm having a problem, and you might be following along with it too. You may be seeing it. You may not be seeing it. I am really concerned about what this is setting people up for. So Alex is all over this, right? I mean, all over this. He is there pinging in Yellowstone. He pings on the days that, that there's bonfires. We know he's the henchman. So here's where I'm really concerned. I am concerned that Lori and Chad are going to try to wiggle out of this somehow and blame it all on Alex because he's not here to defend himself. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm just concerned about it. I don't know. Okay, sorry, my husband texted. I'm just concerned about it. What do you guys think? Are you concerned about this at all? Does this concern you guys as you're hearing what is being laid down? Continuing on, you guys tell me what you think in the comments. I want to know what you guys are thinking. But anyway, so what do you mean I thought she loved animals? Well, okay, having a pet cemetery is just like being able to keep your pets that pass away close to you. Right. So, yeah. And I don't think it's cryptic. I don't think it's cryptic multi-sirens. I think it's him explaining away why there was a fire and a burning and, all of these different things so that if she sees, land dug up, that's going to explain it. Well, that's the raccoon I buried, and raccoons, I understand you can love animals and still know that raccoons are pests, and they can cause a lot of damage if you have a garden or trash or any of those things. So many people do shoot animals like that. They consider them rodents or whatever. I personally love raccoons. I think they're super cute. I try to swerve to not hit them, but I mean, I can understand if he thinks it's a pest, I think that definitely was explaining all of that away, so she wouldn't question anything. And my guess is that Tammy does question things, and that's why Tammy ends up dead. Okay, so the above facts establish that Alex Cox appeared to be at the Daybell property on September 9th, 2019 until at least 11:39. Chad sent the text to Tammy about burning debris and shooting and burying the raccoon in the pet cemetery only 14 minutes later at 11:53. To bury it. Oh, well, I mean, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to throw it away or are you going to burn it? Like, I mean, I don't know. I have several of my animals buried on my grandparents. Well, it was my grandparents' property. They sold it, but a lot of my childhood pets are buried on our there. What else are you going to do with it? Just throw it in the trash? It's going to stink up. So I guess he just buried it. I don't know, guys. Crazy. I think it's a weird, thinly veiled thing anyway. I'm sure Tammy probably questioned it later. Who knows? Anyway, okay. So The pet cemetery, burying the raccoon in the pet cemetery only 14 minutes later at 11:53. The pet cemetery referenced by Chad Daybell is located. Yeah, I know, right? There's no raccoon remains found. Is located at the same location as most of the pings on Alex Cox's phone on September 9th, 2019. So who do you think they're burying there, guys? That's Tylee. On June 3rd, 2020, I interviewed Melanie Gibb and her boyfriend David Warwick in Pleasant Grove, Utah. We discussed in depth the weekend of September 22nd and 23rd, 2019, due to the fact that both Gibb and Warwick stayed at Lori Vallow's residence in Rexburg that weekend. I'm sorry, I'm having a horrible time. Gibb informed me, consistent with information she had previously given to law enforcement, that she arrived in Rexburg on September 19th, 2019. Soon after she arrived, Lori Vallow informed Gibb that JJ has become a zombie and pointed out behaviors such as sitting still and watching TV, claiming JJ said he loved Satan, and increased vocabulary as evidence that JJ was now a zombie. Gibb observed JJ's behavior and felt it to be the same as she had always observed it. Thank you, Sophie. I think in some states, accessory to murder is just as bad as murder. I'm hoping. I'm just concerned that they're going to try and somehow enact a defense and lay it all on Alex. I mean, I know that they're going to do some time. They're going to do some time. I'm 100% certain of that. The thing that I'm concerned about is, are we going to actually get them for murder and put them away for good? Or I don't know if there's a death penalty in Idaho. I've not looked that up yet, but gosh, if there was ever a time for the death penalty, these two fuckers, excuse my language, they deserve it. No, I don't believe JJ said that at all. That's her bullshit. All right. So the last time Gibb and Warwick verifiably saw JJ was the night of September 22nd, 2019. Warwick informed us that it was late and that Gibb, Vallow, and Warwick were going to do a podcast. Warwick said that JJ was acting up, and so Alex Cox took JJ to his apartment in the complex. When Alex returned later that night, he was carrying JJ, who appeared to be asleep with his head on Alex's shoulder. Warwick specifically remembered this because he saw it as a tender moment. I think JJ was dead when he brought him back. So, yeah. I don't think that he was sleeping. I'm sorry, I need a moment. This case has really got me in this one and the Leticia Stout case have really, really, really gotten me. I'm sorry. Okay, so Warwick further informed us that when he woke up the morning of September 23rd, 2019, he asked Lori where JJ was. This was between 8 and 9 a.m. Lori informed Warwick and Gibb that JJ had been acting like a zombie and had been crawling on the kitchen cabinetry and had gotten on top of the cabinetry in the space between the cabinetry and the ceiling. Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus. Who made... She informed Warwick and Gibb that when JJ had climbed upon the cabinetry, that he had knocked a picture of Jesus off the refrigerator. Who has a picture of Jesus on the refrigerator? Vallow then informed Warwick and Gibb that Alex had come and taken JJ. The FBI CAS team has analyzed Alex Cox's movements the morning of September 23rd, 2019 by his cell phone GPS. At 9:55, Alex is again on Chad Daybell's property. He was there until 10:12. The pings on his phone locate Alex near the pond on Chad's property at the northern edge of his property. On June 3rd, 2020, I asked Special Agent Ricky Wright of the FBI to analyze the frequency of Alex Cox's visits to Chad Daybell's property during the month of September 29th, and his response was, per your request, I checked the visits by Alex to Chad's house again. There were only 4 visits by Alex during the month of September. These were on 9/16 from 12:41 to 12:53, 9/9, 9/23, and 9/25 of 10:05 to 10:22. During the 2 visits on 9/6 and 9/25, all the pings were in and around the house, and there were no pings anywhere in the backyard near the fire pit or pond. As you can see, these visits were also short, about 11 minutes and 17 minutes, like the one on 9/23, 17 minutes. The visit on 9/9 was the only long visit, approximately 2.5 hours. On June 9th, Lori, you knew him when he was a missionary? Really? Would you be willing to talk with us? You don't have to come on live or anything, but would you be willing to talk with us? We would love to talk with you. Can you send me a DM? If you don't, it's okay. But we'd really like to know a little bit more about them from before all this nonsense started. I'd really like to know some things. I would really appreciate that. So, on June 9th, the search warrant was executed at Chad Daybell's residence and property. With the assistance of a local FBI ERT team, we located at least multiple sites of interest. These sites were identified and corresponded to the cellular data of Alex Cox's phone when he was on the property mentioned in paragraphs 12 through 16. Additionally, one of the possible sites correlated to a location on the property Chad had texted his wife about, mentioned in paragraph 17 and 18. So basically they're saying that where he told his wife that he buried a fucking raccoon, it has been determined that that's where Alex was. What a fucking asshole. Additionally, one of the possible sites correlated to a location on the property Chad had texted his wife about, mentioned in paragraph 17 and 18. The first site of interest was located on the north side of the pond near the north edge of this property. The site corresponded with the 2 GPS pings from Alex Cox's phone on September 23rd, 2019. A patch of ground was located that appeared to be disturbed. The weed growth on top of the disturbed ground was shorter than the surrounding weed growth. What appeared to be sod etching was also noticed. The disturbed area was approximately 4 feet by 2.5 feet. And just so you guys know, Lori is talking about that he was in her, her church. This is not the same church that he is, currently the leader of. It's a sect that broke off from that and did their own thing. So this is not anything. She has nothing to do with any of this type of stuff. That's a completely different belief system. So, okay. Anyway, guys, this gets pretty bad from here, just so you know. We've got 2 more pages to go, 2.5. I think I have enough time to get through it. Okay. So members of the FBI ERT team removed the top layer of sod. Underneath the layer of sod were several large flat rocks. The rocks were removed and 2 pieces of flat paneling were found. The paneling was removed and investigators exposed a round object covered in black plastic. Upon exposing the round object covered in black plastic, a strong odor was noticed. A FBI ERT member used a small sharp instrument and made a small incision in the plastic, and a layer of white plastic was observed. An incision was made with the white layer of plastic, exposing what appeared to be human remains, the crowns of a head covered in light brown hair. The remaining dirt around this object was methodically removed, explaining what appeared to be a body wrapped in plastic. And the plastic appeared to be tightly wrapped around the body and secured with gray duct tape. Hang on, guys. I actually do want to, I need to share this video, this broadcast out on our other page. I forgot to do it real quick, and I want to do it before I end this. So give me 1 second, and I just need a minute anyway to let all that sink in. So basically they're, describing how they found the body. It was not well preserved. It gets pretty gross from here. Yeah, just, God, it's very upsetting. Very, very, very upsetting. This video, this broadcast out on our other page. I forgot to do it real quick. You guys can hear me talking to myself now. Share. No. Oh, it's not letting me. Okay, I'll copy the link and then go over to my page. I'm sorry, guys. I need a minute, and I want to share this out. So Paste. Share. Okay. Share now. All right. Sorry, guys. Okay. So they find the red round object covered in black plastic. A strong odor was noticed. Of FBI member, makes an incision, and they find that there is another white layer of plastic exposing what appears to be human remains and the crown of a head covered in light brown hair. So the remaining dirt around this object was methodically removed, exposing what appeared to be a body wrapped in black plastic. The plastic appeared to be tightly wrapped around the body and secured with gray duct tape. Cheryl Anderson, associate professor of the anthropology at Boise State University, was present on scene and advised the remains found near the pond appeared to be human. A second site of interest was located behind a red unattached outbuilding located roughly in the center of the property near a fire pit. Next to the fire pit, in an area used as a pet cemetery, this site correlated to several GPS pings of Alex Cox's phone on September 9th, 2019. I'm hoping whoever put that angry face up there, it's because of the content and not, of what we're discussing and not necessarily the content that we're putting out. I mean, we try really hard to just be very informative. Okay. So the site correlates to several pings of Alex Cox's phone on September 9th, and this is next to the fire pit. Ground in this area was probed with a steel pole, and several areas of disturbed ground were located. During a search of this ground, a buried cat and dog remains were found. A backhoe was used to dig further layers of dirt. While doing this, bricks were located approximately a foot below the ground. Once the bricks were discovered, the soil was examined and what appeared to be 2 bones were located. Based on the condition of the bones, Cheryl Anderson was not able to determine whether the bones were human. Methodically, the dirt in this area was searched and several other items of interest were found, including other bones, charred tissues, and charred bones. Cheryl Anderson indicated these additional bones, both charred and uncharred, and tissue found were human remains. Investigators provided photos of some of the partial remains that were found at the pet cemetery to Sarah Getz, PhD, a forensic anthropologist, and Dr. Getz was able to identify these remains as being non-adult human remains. Last page. While officers were conducting their search, Chad Daybell was observed by officers to be continuously watching where officers were searching. He was observed watching other officers while sitting in his vehicle in his front driveway and while sitting in his vehicle across the street at his daughter's residence. Around the time the head mentioned in paragraphs 32 and 33 was discovered, Chad Daybell was observed leaving his daughter's residence in a gray SUV. Yeah, of course you're going to fucking flee now, douchebag. And I and other officers pursued him in police vehicles, conducted a traffic stop, and detained him due to the fact that human remains were discovered on his property. This was filed on June 10th of 2020, guys. So that's it. That's the whole affidavit for Chad Daybell's probable cause. It's pretty awful, shitty shit. I am glad that they were obtained and arrested. I am mad that they went vacationing in freaking Hawaii forever while their kids were dead, zombies. It's very sad. Guys, I'm going to hop off here. I just wanted to update you, get you to be able to hear all of that in great detail. Like I said, it's over for you to look at yourselves, along with some of the witness statements from Melanie and some things on the Brandon Bordeaux. So that's Melanie, the other Melanie, not Melanie Gibb. I don't think it's Melanie Pawlowski or what the heck her last name is. I don't think it had anything to really do with their beliefs, to be honest with you. I don't think they thought that the children were zombies. I don't think that this has anything to do with their bullshit beliefs. I think that they are, using this as a reason to get the children out of their house so that they could go gallivant around in fucking Hawaii. That's my opinion. Hashtag my opinion. But, you can have beliefs all you want, but I think it's rather convenient that these beliefs mean that their children are dead and that they were just doing whatever the heck they want, But anyway, all right, guys, I am going to go enjoy my class and the rest of my Saturday. I hope that you have a beautiful Father's Day weekend. We are releasing some videos today. probably about 5 or 6 p.m. over on our YouTube channel, Murder by Design. I know some of you are joining us from there. Those are going to be our interviews with Kirk Nurmi and no, I'm sorry, not Kirk Nurmi. Thomas Vastrick, the handwriting expert in that has been called in the Tiger King case, missing case of Don Lewis, and Joseph Vastrick, who was longtime friend and lawyer for Don Lewis and Carol Lewis at the time, Carol Baskins. So we're going to release those about 5 or 6 today as a bonus release for the week. And Sunday, we will be releasing Kirk Nurmi, who talked with us a little bit about Scott Peterson's new case, and he spoke with us a little bit about this case too, as to what he thinks is going to happen in this case. So you guys are going to want to catch that at 8 p.m. on Sunday night on Father's Day. But have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your time together. You know, this proves right here that you have no idea how much longer you have on Earth. So be kind and be safe to each other. And remember, #love wins.